Good evening. Let me just sort out the social media malarkeys on my own phone. Good evening, Sheila. Could you just let me know whether that you can hear and see me okay? I think you can see me. If I mess with my phone, that should hopefully tell me whether you can. Am I live? Good evening. Good. Right, so sound seems to be working as well. That's always positive. Good evening, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining me. I trust you are well and are beginning to do some Christmas prep. It's a long time since I've seen you live. Good evening, Wendy. Thank you very much for joining me. I know that you're busy. Have you been having a lovely time with your beautiful granddaughter? Or have you had a weekend of peace and quiet? I know the lovely Sam Lang managed to injure herself earlier on today, so I don't think my face cam is working, so just bear with me because I'm not wearing those gym jams. So let me just see what happens if I take that off screen. There we are. I might just fiddle with this, and if I take that, I'm going to remove that camera. Just bear with. There we are. And then I can have a little bit of fiddle, and it'll go a bit. You'll get a strange view in a minute, my darlings. I do apologise, but don't you fret about it. I will sort it out, and we will be sorted. Oh no, it's really going to misbehave today. But there we are. That's always a good fun, isn't it? So you're going to have to manage without my ugly mugshot, but that's always cool, I think. Unless I can add. Let me see what we can do. Let's add. Okay. Let's pop that. Lift up my integrated camera. Add that. I do apologise because you'll find a very funny view. There we are. Hopefully that will now look a lot better. And I'll just wait for my stream on my computer to catch up. Cool. So that should now be a bit better. I apologise. Oh dear, Wendy, I'm really sorry. Hello, Eleni. Thank you for joining me from Greece. I think, Sheila, I've now sorted it all out. Facebook and things does some strange things on occasions. Good evening, Jackie. Hello, Maxine. Hi, Faith. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for sharing, sprinkling and sharing the love. It's always much appreciated. So we're going to have a little bit of play this evening. I'm in an Udi because I'm in my conservatory and it's flipping freezing. And I just thought that this might be easier than lots of noise. I'll use that. Good evening, Jan. And that might just be a little bit easier than having my heater on. Good evening, Liz. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much. It's a Mr. Grinch one, but I'm very much not a Grinch for Christmas. So I have the Mad Hatters trio of bells upright here. I don't know what else you meant to call them because it stands upright, so that's what it is, or stand up, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I love these, and I think they're a great project to make, and we'll make lovely hat decorations. And this is sort of the layout that we're going to be going for this evening. Hello, Philip. Thank you for joining. So I've got, as I say, the base upright. I've got some pieces from the extra pack, some cute dilly baubles, and those, and then my upright piece and the frame. So we're going to do a little bit of putting together. Did I put glue out? That'll be good. Yeah. Hi, Hi Jojo, thank you for watching. Good evening Alison, thank you for watching. So let me just have a poke at this to ungoo the glue, because you know when stuff is working perfectly well when you start out of the day and by the evening it's not, you've got to just do everything that you can, haven't you? There we are. I've got magnets on my ring light stands, so that's what I'm reaching for because it's the safest place to keep pins, I think. So the base for the upright comes in 2 parts, and I just think that this makes it all the more elegant, I would say. Good evening Olympia, thank you so much for joining me this evening, and also for sharing. I think we have at least one more lady joining us, so that's going to be a pain. I just think it's probably getting towards the end, but it's lovely to see people, and I'm really privileged that you felt that it was appropriate to sign it to your group and to share the love that we have for everything. So the base piece of this upright, as I say, comes with 2 pieces, and there's a very helpful etched line just tucked into here, and if you line everything up perfectly and don't then wobble it, I'm just going to turn it over to make sure that I have got it in line, and then that can sit there and dry, and that will help. So the ball piece itself that will slot into here comes in 2 pieces, a top layer and a base layer. And we're going to do a little bit of sort of splodgy painting, because we actually don't need the whole of this piece painted, because most of it's not going to be on show. And I've chosen to make this in lots of metallics, because I think metallics are very much on trend this year, and so that was the idea. So I'm just going to, and I'm not priming, which I know when you're using MDF might be considered a bit of a no-no, but really it will work, and for what I want to do with it, and that ultimately is the most important thing. As I said, oh dear, and I'm using a horrible scruffy brush, but that's also fine. I do have some nice ones, so let's just move that will cover that bit, because the main pieces do have cutouts, and so I'm wanting this colour to show through the cutouts, and I'm going to paint the back as well with this. So this is going to be using lots of paints, some pastes, some mediums, and a little bit of quite a lot of painting really. Now when you get to this bit here, this is the bit that slots in the holes in the base, and if you get it covered in lots of paint, you'll struggle to get it in because the MDF swells when you paint it. So just be a little bit careful. You can always touch it up once it's on the stand, but I know from past experience it's easier to do this, paint these when they're flat and then work that out. So if I just give that a little bit of a blast dry, I can then paint the back, because of course we have 2 sides to this project, and so ladies, we've got some new members of the group today. We've got some lovely ladies from Greece who do lots of different mixed media projects, so it'd be nice if everyone could welcome anyone who's new to the group. That would be lovely. Good evening Marisol. I presume from your videos earlier on that the snow has arrived in beautiful Andorra up in the mountains, and that you have been enjoying that. It's been perishingly cold, in the UK. So there we are. So let's just give that a little bit of a... So it doesn't matter that I haven't come with that. Good evening, Christina from Spain. Welcome. I'm really sorry, my darling. I don't speak any Spanish. Apart from hola, possibly. And that would have been said with a terrible accent. So I do apologise. So this is going to be the back of my piece. And so let's just add a little bit of colour onto this. But this bit will be on the show, so I just want to add some extra, you know, just some colour to this. I don't mind if this sinks back in, because I'm not going for perfection. We'll add a little bit of stenciling over on the top so the piece has some interest from the back as well as the front, but most of the work will be done ultimately on the front of the piece. But there's nothing like some preparation. As I say, if you really were fanatical, then you could you know, spend a lot more time doing this, but you know, again, so there we are. So that have that, so it's looking reasonably nice. And there we are. So pop this into here. There we are. We'll just add this, and then we can add the stenciling, and then that can go, that can dry. I might just grab another paste while I'm at it, but on the other hand, I might know. So Elizabeth, yes, in Norway, I think you will definitely, your snows arrive, because the ski season has well and truly started. For those of you who don't know, my daughter is a ski instructor, so I therefore have to be aware of what's going on in ski seasons. And we've watched the slalom today with the lovely Michaela Schifrin. Having yet another win, which she is one uber talented skier. I don't think snow has hit Scotland yet, though I think that might be about, according to the weather forecast, that might be about to change. So I'm happy to have a sort of distressed finish to this rather than an intact one, because most spells are moderately distressed anyway, aren't they? So let me just pop that onto there, pop that onto here, and whilst I've got this paint out, I'm just going to whisk round the sides of the other piece. No sewing log yet. Sheila, I have some wonderful friends up in Larg. I don't know if we've had that conversation. In fact, Michelle is currently down in Manchester with a mutual friend, but they live up on the big house, actually overlooking the little house on the lake. So we'll just cover that off, because I'm not going to have that colour. There we are. So let's just, but I do, having painted the sides, I would quite like the edges of this to match in with the front piece when I pop that on. So we'll just take a little bit of time. It's nothing like making a complicated piece, you know, when you're on a live, is there? But hey ho, you know, it's good to stress yourself out. Not, but there we are. No, I never stress nowadays when I'm doing a live. Life is too short to be worried about these things. We can usually sort it out, even if we do make a bit of a piggy's ear of it. Anyway, I think next week that the snow is set to arrive up in Scotland and little bits. I'm not too sure that they've, in spite of some of the scaremongering from some of the some sites, I think that it's not quite been the reliable forecasting. Don't think like there wasn't any liquid with that. There we are. You had some snow up in the Cairngorms last week. Oh no! Oh dear, oh dear. Well, you have my sympathy, Sheila. Oh, well, hopefully. Now then, That's going to go in that way. So let's turn that over, and this is the back, and let's find a stencil. So keeping in with the theme of my project, I'm just going to grab, so this is the, good evening Anthony, thank you so much for joining. So this is deluxe case in Bordeaux gold. So as you can see, I'm keeping this to traditional colours. I'm not the world's best stenciler, as everyone who knows me knows. So just bear with, I've just got some stencil spray because I really am not the world's best stenciler, and I'm just going to offset this. I don't necessarily want whole images, but I do want it to be straight. So let me just pop that vaguely there. That can go there. Do I want the whole world on? There we are. If I move that over there, whatever I do, I'm going to end up with bits. So let's just pop that so it looks like we've got the love on there. And I'm keeping this relatively simple. Now, deluxe plates have a habit of separating out a bit, so I would absolutely recommend that you give them a little share. And I'm not going to oops, she says, to go for two colours here. I'm just wanting to add a little bit of interest to the back of the project for when it's standing up, because I think that that's just a nice thing to have, rather than it all being, I don't necessarily want the H that's there. So there we are. Make sure we've got that. So I'm hoping that that will just give us a little bit of interest there. Oh, and what miracle of miracles, we haven't got too much of a disaster. And now I have to say that I would let this dry if I was going to be doing this. So we'll have to do it again, not on a live, rather than risking doing it a second time without, but because I know what I'm like, I'm quite likely to smudge it all, and I need it for the front. But this is a beautiful stencil, I think, and one that I think could have quite a lot of uses. So there we are. Let's just pop that into there. Just try and catch those pieces into there, and the rest of that word, and then hopefully we've got some stenciling that's not too smudged. It's an even bigger miracle. It's a beautiful stencil. Right, I'm going to put some heating on, so excuse the noise whilst I pop that on there. So that is the back of my piece, and as I say, it's intentionally keeping that very simple. We'll be using this again, so just be careful, and I will just wipe this down. So there we are, because that's good. And that's one of the reasons why I wasn't really worried about having a perfect layer underneath. You know, there are times when you absolutely should be priming everything, and there are times when actually you can consciously make a decision to break rules. And this is one of them. There are some little fiddly bits in this stencil that have a pesky habit of lifting up, so that's just to be aware of if you get it. And let me just clean some of the gubbins off the back, because I don't want it transferring onto the front of the project when I do that, because I will be using some of it on the front as well. Right, that will do temporarily for that. So I'll pop that on the floor next to that, and when I've forgotten where I've put it, ladies, you can all shout at me via the phone that it's there. Good evening, Carol. We've got lots of lovely people watching us this evening. It's very nice at this time on a Sunday. Thank you so much. Do I think that we like the idea of an 8 o'clock in the evening live rather than earlier on in the day? I do know that for Europe it's possibly a bit late, so our ladies from Greece might not you know, it's about 10 o'clock in the evening for them. So I think that although it is a poinsettia, Carol, on that stencil, I think it wouldn't have to be. And the words joy, love and happiness, I think, are applicable for any time of the year, really, aren't they? They definitely don't have to be just for Christmas. So I'm wanting metallics for my project, and excuse my messy plate, but we're going to be using the metal pigments from Pentart, and I'm just going to mix up some of these. So you'll find it easier when you're using this. They mix with Pigment Fix, but I think that Posh Talks Infusion would work. There's lots of different things, companies that make things, but this allows the pigments to adhere, and it stops them from tarnishing with age. So as I say, I use a pipette to dispense that, because then I don't end up with a mucky mess every which way. And I should have put 4 lots out, so hey ho, we'll tackle that one in a minute. And I thought I would have, so this is Fire Gold, which will give me a beautiful red colour, so traditional. There isn't a green metal, surprisingly. We've got, so that's Fire Gold. This is Rose Gold, which is, I don't know, it's not really copper, and it's not, you know, it is a beautiful shade. And then we have some, tell me about it. I do that on a very regular basis, Carol. Not silly at all. I think it's par for the course. And this is Antique Gold. So I'm just going to mix these up as paints. I do want there we are. I also want some silver, so bear with while we reopen that, and we'll pop a thing. Now one of the things with the Pigment Fix is that it fixes. Well, if you mix this in a plastic paint palette, then and let it go dry, you will not shift it off your plastic paint palette. So it's absolutely one where you need to wipe it out when it's wet, or just accept that you're going to have a probably permanently damaged paint palette. Hence I've got a very manky paper plate here. So this is the metal pigment Champagne. I think it does work almost like a varnish, but it's a water-based product, but once it's dry, it is dry. And one of the nice things about it, let me pick up some moderately manky brushes, because that's what's lurking to hand, is that once it's dry, it's absolutely permanent, and you can paint it directly onto acetate, onto glass, onto metal, onto polystyrene, onto MDF, and it just without priming, and it is and it is set solid. So it's a really useful product, I think, to have. So this is the Fire Gold, and you can see just how rich a colour we get, and you mix it up. If you want to use it as a paste to go through a stencil, then you can just add more pigment to make a very thick paste, and I've mixed up way more and you can't keep it, so just be very much aware of that. And I'm going to pop that in, and I will need 2 coats. It will sink in a little bit, and that's also fine, because I quite like the idea of having the wood showing, you know, the MDF natural colour showing through. But as I say, I've got plenty, so I can add it as 2 layers, and a lot of the top is going to be covered, so I'm not going to paint this with a separate layer, because I don't need to, but it will cover and it will stick, and the first layer is going to soak in and the second layer will add. And if you add it in irregular layers there, or irregular depths, you'll get some texture as well, depending on how much you have added. And because I'm going to have the natural brown of the MDF showing through, then I will have a degree of a vintage aged effect for my piece, which will fit in with the rest of it. But as I say, we've mixed up plenty, so that's also cool. We can add another layer, and we can go in, pop this into here. There we are. As I say, we'll let one layer dry, and then we can add it. You can see it soaking in, and that it loses its metallic feel as it does that. If you really want a very, very blingy result, then put it over the top of black paint, or and you'll get that true effect. I definitely don't recommend for the really rich colours that you put it on top of white. It will go over white, but it's maybe not the result that you want. You definitely take several layers to cover white. Good evening. We have another lovely lady who is joining us from Olympia's group in Greece. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's so much appreciated, and this will add. Hello, Blanche. I trust you are well and that your children are well. So Blanche is joining us from Mexico this evening. So we really do have a good international group here. So one of my samples that I made for television, the big bauble that I know lots of people commented on, I painted in Bordeaux and then added the gold glaze paste over the top of it. I know Charlie was suggesting that on one of my makes that I might have used gilding flakes, and I can assure you there was not a gilding flake in sight at all. The pigments, I was using more of these pigments, which have become my favourite choice. You can see that really has coloured very, very well from there. And I can add another layer if I want to. So I don't mind contaminating these a little bit. So this was the rose gold, which again is another really beautiful colour, and completely different. So I like the fact that we've now got lots of different coloured metallic pigments. You can remix the pigment fix with any mica will work, so that that's a cool activity to do. You don't need to have it necessarily just with the metal pigments, and actually that means that you can mix it and fix any of your pigment powders, and that includes things like your Lindy's that are otherwise water reactive, because it will convert them into a paint and stop them being water reactive. I have to confess, I love the initial looks with Lindy's, but I don't like the fact that they move, and I don't like the fact that they dull down as they dry. but that's, you know, that's my personal feelings about them. But I know that there are many people who do absolutely do love them. So this colour is just a little bit is a different shade to the MDF, and it'll give it a shine. So, but I say I will add a second layer over the top. If I just let that one dry a little bit more, I'll be able to add and intensify the colour, because I'm building the pigment layer as I go back over it, and that's quite, you know, so you can add and control what you're doing. Try and brush out your mark, the brush marks. So that the plan is to have rich colours, but with a vintage feel to my piece. As I say, if you really wanted these to be ultra blingy, then paint your piece black and then add the pigments over the top, and it really will look like metal. And in fact, that's a good tip generally, I think, for working with any metallic medium. Even basic metallic paints will cover more with a more true metallic feel if you have a black base for them. And there we are. So we've got sketches in the middle. As I say, we're going to be doing some layers. I'm going to leave that one to dry, and we're going to move to the bottom of here, and I'm going to use this beautiful, rich, true gold for this piece. We've got lots of lovely ladies joining us this evening. I am so grateful for everyone for choosing to spend their Sunday evening with me. It's a real privilege to have that happen, because I know our time is precious, but I also know that actually for many people the Facebook Lives are a bit of a lifeline if you're sitting otherwise on your own, and provide maybe a little bit of company, which is also not a bad thing, is it? If we can all help look after each other in this world of madness. You can see nicely, or I can see nicely on my family, that the colours are coming through. So, as I said, yeah, you could paint you could choose to paper all of these and then file out all of the offcuts and things, but yeah, the choice is yours. That is the joy, isn't it, of having a bare piece, is that you've got full control then of what you do and how you make it up. No one's dictating the look. So if you want to do pink and green or for Christmas, then you can do. If you want to do whites and gold, whites and silvers, then it would look very pretty in the whites and gold, whites and silvers, or you can go more traditional metallics. I am quite a literal person, so I do definitely, you know, bells are meant to be shiny and metal, hence my choice of colours. But as I say, it really wouldn't matter. You could use what you want. And the shapes are not so difficult that you couldn't cut out and file back. Yeah, I think they're relatively simple shapes for shaping. And if you then plan to disguise maybe some of like this area and the joints, then it becomes even easier to do that. There we are. And I've still got paint left, so I'm just going to add another layer to the other ones, just to build that colour up a wee bit more. So this is the one I use for the top. So this, as I say, is the rose gold. I'll add that, and it's becoming quite sparkly I know it's wet at the moment, so everything's shimmery, isn't it, when it's wet? But you can see the iridescence of the mica when these are there in real life. And I don't want to waste this, so I'm just going to layer it up because it makes more sense to me to do that. There we are. And as I say, you can't, once it's dried, you can't reconstitute it. So again, I think it's just easier to use up what I've got pre-mixed, and as I say, that will have the extra function of intensifying the colour a little bit. There we are. Right, let's add some of that fire gold, which is this beautiful reddy colour. Fire gold is a good description of it. There we are. Add that in. Good evening, Bee. Thank you for joining us this evening. I trust that you're well and that work's behaving. There we are. There we are. Good. So this is definitely, I can feel that my paint is, the mix is thickening up. Maybe I shouldn't have put me onesie on, me hoodie on. What colours do I do? Elizabeth, I am a whites, crystals, silvers and shades of blue for my Christmas. So in my main room, and this is very much not white. But I've got another room that I will use with the metallics, which are on trend for this year. Good evening, Jill. How are you? There we are. So we'll just add this. And I think it's always a dilemma for me when I'm doing Facebook Lives. How much do you prep? How much do you not prep? This sort of, do we have a short life or a very long life? I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Because if you prep too much, then you can't, then it takes very little time, but also you've done most of the work, and then people don't see necessarily, even if you talk through it, you don't necessarily see the preparation, and sometimes actually that's quite helpful in terms of that. So there we are. So cool. Let me just pop that down to dry on the floor. I have got that round right way. Good. I have, for a dicky minute then, I thought I had managed to paint it on the wrong side, but I haven't. That's good. And then I've got these 3 of these really cute diddy bells, and this is like champagne. There's a silver and a sparkling silver, and an ordinary gold as well. So lots of options to choose from. There we are. So there we are. We'll have those in and leave those on there. So what else do Elizabeth asked a question, so let's see if we can carry that on, shall we? What colours do we use for Christmas? What options? What are you doing this year? Are you someone who brings out the same decorations every single year, has collected them lovingly over many years and enjoys that? Or are you someone who thinks that actually you could Actually, I know what I'll do whilst this is all out. We'll put the rest of it onto here. Or are you someone who buys new each year? So I'm just going to mix these up on here, use these up, so I've got a mixed silvered base, because it seems to me to be more sensible than throwing it away, and it will look rather pretty. There's lots of different things, traits and trends, aren't there? So, there's some people who buy new each year, and some people, I think I've not messed that up. Some people who will definitely just recycle what they've got and enjoy the tradition of using everything that they have. Mini Christmas jumpers on the upside down tree now join Mini Costa. Very good, Jill. Very good. So yeah, we'll have a mixed coloured base, and we can mix our colours in. I just need to be moderately careful around there, because I don't want it to thicken up too much. So I shall have, and I can always add more as I want to. There we are, let's pick up some of that. So we've got more of the silver, and that's also cool. So we're layering and mixing our colours, and that's cool. Right, that will work. That will work for now. She says, carrying on. There we are. So you can mix your colours, don't be afraid to do that either. You get some beautiful shades by doing that. So I am literally just using up what I've got on my brushes, on my palette, because I don't want to be wasting stuff. There we are, and I've got a blended mix there, which I think now looks quite pretty. She says even if it is her own decision that it looks pretty. Now if I put them that side with a bit of luck, they will sit. So we now have some bits of painting to do. I apologise, it may take a little bit of time to paint these. Now we need some nicer brushes than we've got lurking out here. There we are, that will do. That's reasonable. Actually, let's do the greens first, because it's going to be easy. So I've got a mixture of greens. So that is khaki, that is thorn, and this is pine. You've made a wooden lamp for a lamp. That sounds lovely. Nutcracker in the conservatory went crackers during lockdown. Okay. Cool. There we are. So let me see. We've got some pine leaves here. So let's just add some details to these. There we are. So I'm going to have to, I will be adding some contour pen, but I'm going to need to do that once they're on the project, because otherwise I shall undoubtedly pick them up and then squidge it everywhere, which will be, well, it'll be a look. It might not be quite the look that I was wanting. And I can see some bits here that just need poking through, that haven't, that from the MDF that hasn't. Come on. I suppose a pokey tool might be more intelligent, mightn't it? There we are. Come on. There we are. That's better. That's better. So. Now in the kit there are overlay pieces for the poinsettia for all of the pieces, but or for most of them, but I've deliberately chosen actually not to work with all of those for a whole host of reasons, because partly because I've used them for other things. So there we are. So that's that done. So let's have our holly in a different colour. I've got a lovely, lovely nutcracker mould, and I've made a piece with a big plaque with 5 different nutcrackers on it. So that's, well, I haven't shared that on Facebook yet, but I will do. I will do. There we are. So you can build the colours up, you know, but sometimes it's just easier to just work with the bare MDF and not be too stressed about having to have everything completely pristine. The wooden lamp sounds lovely. There's a little lantern in the latest MDF range from Madhatters, which is cool. That works really well. Could be dressed up in lots and lots of different ways. And I love the houses, the little churches that would work for Christmas or for Halloween, or for Gothic mansions, or even for weddings or christenings, or almost any special occasions, I think. Now the joy of this MDF is that it has all of your etch lines in it, making it easy to work out what bit is what, where to add your colours and where to add your shading if that's what you want to do. There we are. One more of those over there. As I say, we're going to add some different mediums onto the tops of here once it's in place. So we have a plan. I like it when I have a plan. In fact, to be fair, I never go live without a plan. I might not make my projects ahead of the live, but I do know exactly where I'm going to be going and what it's going to do. I know there are some people who, and certainly when I first started doing lives, where I absolutely had to make the project and then remake it on the live. I wasn't confident enough just to go for it, but then I ended up with so much stuff that nowadays I don't. I lay it all out so I know what I want and I know where it's heading, but then I have the confidence to know that I can get it right after that. So there are some ribbons on these pieces, but they will get covered. So there we are. So let's just add and break all the rules, but we're going to add a different colour for the poinsettia leaves. I think there's another bit that might need to be given a little poke. No, that That is leaf. There we are. So we're just gonna there's my custom blend. It's a bit too bright there. So I'm deliberately choosing to have my leaves in different colours. Did I put a brown out? No, I didn't, you daft bat. Right, we might be going and grabbing a brown in a minute. That piece really does need a little bit of brown. There we are. Thank you, Anthony. Sorry, I was head down in my painting, which was, you know, just, you can't, I don't think you can paint direct, you know, delicate bits and watch comments. So apologies if I've missed anyone, and I definitely don't want people thinking I'm being rude, because I'm not. It is just that I am at this point concentrating on my make, and I think most of you have seen my approach to painting is to mix my colours as I go and not so I don't have something that's completely flat or only one colour. And I know I've got a scruffy looking brush, you know. I do have plenty of decent brushes. I'm just too tight to throw out these when I can use them. And I know that might sound terrible, but if I can still work with them, I will do. Because I don't like waste, really. It's the honest answer. And I can come back in and neaten stuff up with a second layer if I want to. I might not do a second layer during the live, but I can, yeah, can come in and neaten as I want to. And the joy of the MDF etch lines is that even with the paints, I can still see them. I can still see all of the etching and the details in those leaves, so that's cool. So let us let's put the correct lids. Thank you, Jenny. You're lovely. Yeah, absolutely. That's a pine. I'm going to have to get a new pot of that. Khaki and thorn. Those, I think, are pretty much my go-to. Yeah, they are. They are my go-to colours for greens. So let's just add, and I know I've just covered over the detail on that poinsettia. I has a plan, so do not fret. Wait, as a plan, and I've also got a plan for the berries, so they're not going to stay flat colours. I just need to get a base colour down. We're going to add some details with some contour pens. So it's just going to be easy, and they're dimensional, so and glossy. But I like a base colour underneath them. So there we are. We can add in those. But this means that actually your makes won't take you forever. It's a busy time of the year, isn't it, when we're doing things like, yeah, coming up to Christmas, so I'm conscious that we don't all have masses of time, or we might have lots of projects to make. So you could spend a lot of time adding lots of shading into your pieces, adding some darker colours in, but for purposes of this, don't know why I did that like that either, we will just cover it all in the red and keep it as a single colour and rely on the etchings of the on the MDF to define the individual petals rather than shading with the colours. Yeah, because otherwise we're going to be here until next century if I decide to colour each one of these in with masses and masses of detail. When I know that actually this group is lovely and there isn't a time frame at this time of the day, we might be thinking about calming down, settling down, and maybe not wanting to, settling down our social media at some point so we can relax our brains ahead of bedtime, because screen time and going to sleep is not meant to be very good for us, she says, knowing that she goes to sleep with the television on. That's the only way that she can go to sleep. There we are. It stops my active brain from dwelling on things that maybe I shouldn't be dwelling on. So, has anyone got any questions they want to ask, or are they all happy with what's going on? Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, I think you just have to, as I say, I can talk and paint, look at Facebook, answer comment, read comments as they scroll past on the screen is perhaps an extra step too far. You could get a ball tool out to paint those little the holly berries in. That's the word I'm looking for. That will work for you quite happily. So I will go in, I can neaten these up on my project after the live if I want to. Add another layer of colour if I want to, even. Or not, as the case may be. I like the fact that well, not all leaves are the same, are they? That's the thing. So given given that we've got very carefully different shapes of leaves that have been provided by the lovely Wendy in her MDF kit, it seems to me to be silly to then just to paint them all in one colour, because actually nature has thousands of shades of red, hasn't it? So they are all different. So let's see if we can paint that in. Let's lift off that extra paint. As I say, I can neaten up particularly the leaves afterwards, but I suspect it won't be a problem by the time I've got all the layers in, and if it is, as I say, we will sort it. if I was thank you very much. I'm really sorry to our lovely Greek lady. Let me just yeah, I can see that on my phone it's telling me that you're liking what I'm doing, but I don't know what your name is, so I'm really sorry that I can't say thank you personally for your lovely comment. So cool. Now then, mo, we have some bits. So this piece is going to sit into here, but this is going to leave this area at the base empty. So just let me lift that up, and we're going to solve that by taking this, and I don't want the joy at this point, and I certainly don't want it upside down. So we're going to stick that on there, and we're just going to pick up some more of our deluxe paste from there, and a clean stencil brush will probably be helpful, and we're just going to add, because it's going to just give me an extra bit of detail on the base so it doesn't look completely bare, because I don't want it looking completely bare, to be honest. Excellent. Good. Let's just wipe around that corner. There we are. So if there's an element that you don't want to be on display, and you're not necessarily as uber careful, then just mask it off so that you don't get your paste in it. This is a Stamperia stencil, Elizabeth, and I think it's still available. My uber favourite house mould is not available. It's very inconsiderate of it, but it is not. So we will need that out ultimately. So that's going to be the back. Let's do a little bit of adding together. Oops, don't want that piece of paper lurking there. Right, let's hope that this is going to work. If I pop that up there, yeah, that's better on the screen. Let's just have a little clear of some of this. So let's just add a moderately splodgy amount of express glue. I like the express glue because it grabs, as its name might suggest, relatively quickly. And I have an old brush here. She says picking up a new brush. It wasn't what we intended, so let's just give this a little bit of a brush out, partly because I don't want it splurging, because most PVAs are ultimately shiny. I know you can get ultra matte ones, but most are not, and even if they say they're matte and they dry clear, actually quite frequently you can still see where they are, and the OCD bit of my head does not like that, I'm afraid. So hence the thing. So just pop this around. Don't mind if it's meant to be shiny, but I don't like it when it's not meant to be. There we are. We'll just even that up. Of course, MDF soaks up glue in the same way as it soaks up paint and stuff. You do need a generous layer. So that can now go onto there. Let's just make sure that we are lined reasonably well. And I can tidy up those edges as I want to. Now then, so there's the next bit. So I've got, let's just pop that so it's going to sit straight, because once these are down I don't necessarily want to mess with them. So that is going to go onto there. This one is going to go there. Off camera I will decorate the bits of these that are showing, because I think that projects need to be finished. And I could lift this up, but I think it's going to be easier not to. So I'm just going to pop that onto there like so. That one can go there. That one can go there. This piece is going to go onto there. And there is unfortunately a right way and a wrong way. And because this is on the skew, I'm just going to get some, I'm actually going to pick the glossy gel medium for reason, because it will, no, actually I'm not going to, I'm going to grab some Pinflow because it's there. She says, yeah, no, I much prefer fronts and backs of projects decorated, Anthony, I have to say. So that piece is going to go there, can sit into there. That can go there. That can go there. Now this will be a headache, so we'll just take that off, because there is a right and a wrong way for doing these, because it's not a symmetrical flower, just to be, aha, we've got that right, cool. So that piece can go onto the top of there, and then we can add that onto there, and we could add some ribbons if we wanted to. So that's those bits, those bits. I am going to have to add some extra panes, but there we are. So I'm just going to turn this round on the wonk, ladies. I do apologise, but I need to be able to get to this. So this is a contour pen. So mine are from Pentart, but there are some in the current release from Stamperia. I have something similar, and these will dry with textured raised dots. So they're quite good just for adding another layer of detail. The ladies who are really good at them with them, and I am not, I'm going to do these one by one. We'll add all sorts of very fancy nice lines. They come in lots of different colours. That one is blockhead, so let us unbun. Absolutely lots and lots of choices, I think, for poinsettia in different colours. Don't really want to, that feels like that might be unblocked. So the key with these is to, there we are, unblock it and have it clean at the end. So I can now add, would help if it wasn't moving, because that's not glued down properly, but hey ho. Now if you put them too close to each other when you're adding the dots, they will merge, but that's again less of a problem. So this will add a shiny layer and some texture, and just an extra layer of detail. And I probably should wait for it to dry before I try adding these, and to some extent it will self-level. and there is a dot to go into there. So you can see where I've put them to link together. So this is green. So we'll just add that into there. There we are. You do need a relatively steady hand and let it fall rather than touch the piece, if that makes sense. It'll be easier. This is because these pieces are still wet, so let me just give it a little bit of a dry, but it does make, just adds extra detail to the pieces. So I'll put that up there. There we are. Right. We're going to go back to our dots in the red. And I can lift that off because it is on glue gel. So there we are. Let's just pop that into there. And you could add glitter onto this while it was wet. If you wanted to, that would work quite nicely, just to add a little bit of iridescence, but you don't need to. That will add shine. Let's just collect the lid for the piece. No, that's the gold. Right, we'll pop that into there for the moment. No, we won't, because I've seen little berries I've missed. So let me just add those. Let's add. So if you end up with a splodgy bit at the end of your project, your contour pens, then just wipe it off. I think actually I've got a damaged end to the tip to the end of this one, but that's fine. I will undoubtedly find the lid when I'm not looking for it, because now I've lost the gold one as well, but hey ho. Cool. Right, we've now found the gold one. So let us just add our last lot and squidge it off your project first, because there's nothing worse than squidging a line like this at this stage and then having an almighty big splodge where you don't want it. Right. Aha! There we are. So, and because I've done it in this order, she says, and now I can't find this stencil because I put it somewhere safe, I could add, once this is dry, the word joy, love and happiness, but I think I'm going to leave as is because I've got those in the back, haven't I? So when this is dried, and it needs to dry flat, I will then pop it into here, and then we'll photograph it and put it up on the page for everyone to see. So I hope that's been useful. For those of you that can't find the contour liners, then you could use stickles, or you could use Nouveau drops, things that you might already have lurking to hand. Thank you, Wendy. I hope that you think that I've done the project in your beautiful MDF justice, because I love working with it. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to call it a day because it's now just gone 9 o'clock, quarter past 9. So, and I hope that I've shown that actually, I know I've thought it through, that actually this project doesn't then have to take forever, because you've seen me do the whole thing, literally the whole thing, from basic MDF through on the live in just over an hour and a half, making it a relatively quick make for everyone. So good night, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe. I'm not too sure what's going to happen next week. Sam Lang and I will have a discussion, and one or other of us will do a live at some point over next weekend. I do know that Sam Lang is live in Crafting Together with All Brands group tomorrow evening at, I think, 7 o'clock in the evening, and she is using, or she, as far as I'm aware, she is using one of Wendy's snow globes. So if you can, please join her there. Thank you for all of your kind words, ladies and gentlemen. Take care. Bye.